And welcome everyone to another Smart Money Circle episode. I'm Adam Sarhan. With me today is Mr. Amir Reichman, who's the CEO of Scinai Immunotherapy, the ticker symbol at SCNI. Amir, thank you so much for taking the time and welcome to the Smart Money Circle.
Thank you, Adam, and thank you everybody for taking the time to listen and watch our video now.
So, Amir, I always like to ask, can you tell us a little about your journey and how you got to where you are today, please?
Yes, fasten your seatbelts. I studied biotechnology engineering here in Israel, studied my master's degree, and then looking for something to do post my master's degree, I started working on a project at my professor's lab that was aimed to develop transdermal delivery device for treatment of Parkinson's disease. And it was a nice project. I thought it would be, just a graduate, maybe a potential dissertation project for a PhD. But I put a poster in, and then we got an interest from Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's disease, and they decided that it was very nice project, and they'd like to give us a grant of $1 million. I said, okay, let's focus more on that, and we started a spin-off company called NeuroDerm out of the Ben-Gurion University. We went into an incubator. It was basically just me and my dog. And, once in a while I had a visit from the professor, built all by myself, the lab there. Fast forward 2017, we sold the company to Mitsubishi Tanabe Pharma for $1.1 billion cash. I left the company in 2009. Stayed a shareholder, moved out because I got full scholarship from the Wharton School and relocated out from Israel to the United States to pursue an MBA in healthcare and finance. And I thought after 2 years, I'll come back to the startup and continue to be part of the leadership. And actually, it was then that I was looking for a summer internship as like any other MBA student. And I happened to find an internship up in Cambridge, Massachusetts, working for Novartis Vaccines. And the VP R&D was a guy that came from Harvard. His name is Vas Nalishman. Today is the CEO of Novartis. And sometimes the stars just align. I took my internship, presented it to Vas and other people that worked there, including the chief scientist at the time was called Rino Rapulli. He's a very famous scientist. Developed many vaccines, meningitis vaccines, Bexsero, Menveo, lots of vaccines. And it was at that time that I was offered to relocate down to North Carolina, and I was part of the Novartis Biologics Tech Ops in Holly Springs, North Carolina. Spent additional 4.5 years there. And then in 2015, we were acquired. The Novartis Vaccines division was acquired by GSK Vaccines. And I was offered, after the leadership selection process, to relocate with my family into Europe. And we relocated to Belgium. Belgium is the headquarters of the GSK Vaccines division. Indeed, GSK's headquarters is in London, but Vaccines is in Belgium. So I moved to Belgium, spent there 6 years with different global roles in the technical operations, engineering, manufacturing, supply chain. And then in 2020, we decided to relocate back to Israel for family reasons. We wanted to reunite back with family. We haven't been in our home for about 13 years. We want to come back. So looking for a new job, I just sent my CV across, and a fellow from the Wharton School, who happened to be a board member in an Israeli company, called me for an interview and said, listen, we have a problem. We had a company, very successful, developed a product all the way to phase 3, built a manufacturing site to prepare for launch, and the phase 3 flopped. Can you help us? And I said, oh, you know what? Sounds like a crazy thing to do. So now, after we did a nice exit with the previous company, I said, okay, that's maybe another entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship, big pharma, US, big pharma, Europe, back to entrepreneurship. So that's my journey back into this company.
Wow, I love that. So let's speak about Sinai, please. Can you tell us some of what you do, number one, and some of your competitive advantages?
Sure. So Sinai originally was called BioNTech. And BioNTech, when I came, was a company that developed an influenza vaccine is a universal influenza vaccine, aiming to eradicate influenza. Big promise, and unfortunately, it did not succeed in phase 3. It's not fun, but it's not uncommon with biotech. And then the main problem was, okay, they built a factory. And to build the factory to support the launch, they took a loan. So they took a 24 million euro loan from a European bank. They didn't have a lot of money, $2.5 million left, and the IP went to trash. So what do you do? So called all my friends from consulting firms, LEK Boston, LEK Munich, LEK London. We created a team, started to think, okay, what's the next technology we would like to focus on? And we looked at the factory that we have, what it can do. We looked at the demand in the market. We looked at different things, and we thought, okay, let's in-license a technology that can be used as a platform. Not necessarily that you have the IP for the platform, but you get know-how and experience so that you can apply from one product to another. So it should be a platform. For example, antibodies is a platform, yes. So in our case, we decided to go after single domain VHH antibodies. These are small antibodies derived from camelid animals, camels, llamas, and alpacas. In our case, alpacas. And we wanted, okay, so now let's find the most brilliant people that know how to make single domain antibodies. And we searched the market and we found the research institute Max Planck in Germany. It's a massive research institute, 30,000 employees, 80 sites across Germany only. It's the largest institute I think, one of the largest in Europe, and the fourth ranked in life science in the world. And we found there a professor who is one of the 12 directors of this massive organization, and he's a professor for biophysics. He's focused on researching those antibodies. And he has a alpaca farm, in Germany. And so we signed a contract with them to in-license a nanobody, and then also a research collaboration agreement for 5 years, during which the Max Planck Institute will research and discover and characterize a list of antibodies after targeted molecular targets that we predefined together with LEK. So what we did was we basically analyzed all the 807 potential targets for antibodies that are targeted today with commercial antibodies in the market. So there are lots of antibodies in the market. They're definitely the most sold biologics. And we wanted to know, okay, which antibodies are selling very well, but still leave a significant money on the table, basically underserving specific populations on their patient populations. And then we asked ourselves, can we, with a different antibody structure, aka our nanobody or single domain antibody, can this antibody answer to the unmet needs because of its different physicochemical attributes? And we analyzed that, and we came with a list where we knew that if we can succeed to develop an antibody for that target, we can increase the pie. So there is a pie of patients that is already served by specific antibody, and by developing this single domain antibody, we will cater to additional populations that are currently underserved by the current antibodies. So that's what we did with the company. We also rebranded it under the name Sinai from BioNTech to differentiate, because it's not a vaccines anymore, it's a therapeutic company. And then last and not least, we took the manufacturing site and we split it out. We created 2 business units, an R&D business unit and a CDMO business unit, because we had a significant factory that we couldn't sell. We had a loan on this factory, a lien. You can't sell it. So we created a CDMO. We negotiated with the bank to convert the already $29 million loan, including principal and interest, back into equity, convertible to 19.5% of our total equity. So remove the loan, clean the balance sheet, And now we are ready to finally split the two entities. And in the end, we will have two separate entities. If you like to invest in CDMO business, it's a CDMO business. If you would like to join forces or sell it, we will have the opportunity. And then the R&D will be clean. Balance sheet is clean, fully financed, new technology pipeline. So full restructuring just completed.
I love it. So just to recap here, you have two primary business sections that you're looking at. One would be the CDMO, and then the other one would be the nano abs or the antibodies that come from alpacas and other things of that nature. Is that correct?
It is exactly correct. The core business of the company is the innovative drug development, the antibodies from alpacas, and the CDMO is a side business, which is a very profitable and very interesting business because it helps you to absorb and recover your fixed costs. It also gives you access to your own labs and GMP grade facility, so you don't need to stand in line and wait in the queue when you need services from CDMOs. Specifically, if you are a small biotech company and you are lean with the resources and money,
Right.
going to a CDMO suddenly, okay, we'll do your project in 8 months. You might not have 8 months.
Right.
So, you need it now.
Yes.
We have it in our place, so we can definitely execute our own projects. And in addition, we execute other projects for other people, which covers our fixed costs, training the muscles in the gym, and helping us, spend the investors' money mainly on the R&D and not basically on fixed costs like rent and the utilities and electricity, things like that.
I love that. So I think it's brilliant what you're doing because you're able to address multiple things. You have cash flow from one side of the business and developing something else that could be explosive once you're able to figure that out, the nano abs, and that becomes another big profit center. So, Amir, question for you before we move forward. Can you speak a little bit towards the actual science part of it, how you're addressing inflammation and how all of that comes together, please?
Sure. So let's take into account our first product, which is an anti-IL-17, interleukin-17. Today, the most prevalent interleukin-17 isoforms are interleukin-17A and interleukin-17F. Why the F is so important? Because it's most prevalent in the skin.
Okay.
Talking about psoriasis, targeting those two isoforms will help one to achieve reduction in inflammatory cycle and inflammatory cascade. You stop it, and then the inflammation decays, and you can reach clearance of the skin. Now, we are not the first ones to develop an anti-interleukin-17 for the treatment of psoriasis. So why bother? As I mentioned, there are already anti-interleukin-17s in the market. For example, Cosentyx of Novartis, for example, Taltz, Siliq, Bimzelx. You have several that are already in the market, capturing the majority of the moderate to severe patients. But when you look at the mild patients, mild to moderate, mild are 50% of the market, and mild to moderate are 78% of the market.
Oh, wow.
Now, the mild patient, how do you define the mild patient? The mild patient is defined many times by body surface area. Less than 3% of the body surface area is considered mild. What is a percent? A percent is your palm of your hand.
Wow.
So less than 3%, 3 times your palm of the hand of lesions on your body, you're considered mild. Well, so if you're mild, you're not eligible for biologics. You need to take only corticosteroids, phototherapy, all the fun stuff. And then what if these 3% are on your face? Or what if it's on your palms of your hands? How do you touch stuff? What if it's on your bottom of your feet? What if it's on the genitals, on your sex organs? Can you imagine? Now the disease, what we need to take into account is not only the definition of, okay, how much percentage is covered by lesions? Can we give biologics? That's a very kind of scientific way to look at the disease. But if you look in the white of the eyes of the patient, you need to understand the disease burden. And the disease burden is composed of many other factors unrelated to the body surface area, the BSA percentage, which patients hate because they're like, oh, I'm considered mild, but I actually have it on all my face. Now, what's the solutions that they have now for mild? They give them corticosteroids. So shortcomings of corticosteroids, first, you need to take them twice a day. So just imagine, you wake up in the morning, what do you do when you wake up in the morning? Hopefully you wash your face, you brush your teeth, you want to take a shower if you in the morning, and then you need to put a cream or an ointment. Well, you want to shave. So, okay, I need to wait now 20 minutes, half an hour to get dry. I want to put makeup, I can't. Coming back from work or going to work, I want to put my dress shirt. I want to go back into bed. I want to sit on my leather sofa. You think you get it? It's disturbing your day-to-day. What's the refill rate of corticosteroids? 10%. 10%. So 90% of the people don't refill.
Wow.
So it's unbelievable. So people underuse the drugs. Yes, they're very cheap, but horrible solution. Now that's one aspect. The other aspect is side effects. What happens to your skin when you put very strong corticosteroids time after time, because it's a chronic disease? It is developing a phenomena called skin atrophy. So it destroys your skin. Now, if it's in somewhere hidden, not nice, not the end of the world. What about the face? What if it's on the genitals? What if it's on the palms of the hands, bottom of the feet? You can't bear atrophy of your skin on the bottom of your feet. You will end up in wheelchair.
Right.
If it's in the genitals, in the sex organs, it's unbearable. So people say, no, I'm not putting that anymore. And then what happens? They suffer from flare-ups of the disease. So then the physician says, you know what? Go to take a phototherapy. And phototherapy, you need to drive to an outpatient facility 3 times a week, 10 weeks. Adherence 30%. People don't have time. It's like 3 times a week. Outpatient facility, who has time for that? You need to go to work. 10 weeks. It's almost 3 months that you need to go to this treatment. And success, okay, 60%. So, okay, 60% it will be successful. $1,500 cost, and good luck. Go 3 times a week. So the solutions are not there. Now, there are other oral treatments, but the efficacy is quite low. And then you have the biologics. But biologics, the ones that we came after, they are currently applied only for the severe patients, sometimes to the moderate. So the label is moderate to severe, but mostly given to the severe. And they're very expensive, $5,400 per syringe every month. Okay, I don't know what's your insurance policy. Some people have 10%, 20% deductible, up to a cap, right? So I don't know. When I lived in the US, it was like 2,500 personal cap, sometimes 5,000, depends on the insurance. So people that suffer from this chronic disease, they need to shell a significant amount of money in order to get the treatment. Now, if the person is mild, will the physician give them? Will the insurance cover? Will the insurance cover for a mild patient? No. You know, you have a cost to benefit. So basically what happens is that they're stuck with the worst solutions, but they have no access or, utility in the new ones, the most efficacious. So this is exactly the unmet need that we're coming to address. And we're saying, okay, we have the anti-IL-17 that is so small, it's 1/10 of the size of an antibody from humans. It's very cheap to manufacture. We ferment it in yeast. It's like making a beer. And we created a pen. Think about it. It's a pen. You put the pen on the skin directly on the lesion, and you give a click. The click will push a small needle, 2 millimeters. You don't even feel it. It's above your nerves. So you click and release, every 3 centimeters. You do it once in 3 months.
Wow. That's huge.
And that's a solution that we are developing because you are applying the anti-cytokine antibody directly to the skin where it's needed, cutting the inflammation cycle, but the antibody is so small that when it goes to the blood, it immediately clears out through the urine into the kidneys and out. And you don't have systemic impact. You are saving a lot of money on costs. You don't expose the patient to systemic treatments, and you give them an innovative treatment to replace these 70-year-olds, corticosteroids. Like our grandparents were using that. No, so, there wasn't true innovation in this local treatment of psoriasis for, I'd say, at least 25 years, no innovation. So that's exactly where we come to.
And that comes from the alpacas with the nanoamps?
Yeah, so the alpacas and camels, they generate antibodies. You know how antibody looks like? It's like a Y shape, right? You have this stem and then these two arms. So these two arms are usually, they are the variable parts. In the human antibody, these variable parts are composed of two parts, the heavy chain and the light chain. So you have like the stem and then two couples of arms. In alpaca, they have only the heavy chain, so it's only two parts. It's very easy to cleave it and basically take this small part, and what we generate is only this small part of the arm, which neutralizes the IL-17. We don't need all the rest of the structure. It's very so. What we do, we clone it into a cell of a yeast, like almost like a beer yeast. It's called pichia. We raise it in fermentors, like 1,000-liter fermentor for I don't know, 3 days. And then, we harvest, we take all these nanoabs, we put them in vials, you put the vials into a pen, and then you apply it.
Love it. Wow, that is really, really powerful. Thank you for that explanation. So, Amir, next question for you. Risk management. How do you handle risk, and what are some mistakes you see people make with respect to risk management?
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake entrepreneurs can make is basically to try and do everything by yourself. And I think sometimes even governmental grants are pushing us towards this because they want to say, okay, are you going to promise me that you will do all the clinical trials and launch and sales? Because they want to see the company. The first thing you want to do is try to out-license as soon as you can. And the reason is, as a small entrepreneurial business, you do not have the experience, the capabilities, and the ability to absorb and manage risks with regards to business continuity, GMP manufacturing, global distribution, global sales, pricing, regulatory affairs, medical affairs, etc. You want to focus on what you are doing best, which is drug development. So focus on that area and create expertise between the university up to and maximum to phase 2. And then try between the preclinical and phase 2, always work to create partnerships, even potential or options, and then try to sublicense the drug to different partners. And then when you get proceeds, invest them back in creating additional products to enrich your pipeline and progress additional products in the pipeline so that you can always in-license, develop, out-license. The large pharma dream can come true, but it will come true only after you will do several of these deals that will put enough money in the bank account of the company so that you can build your own manufacturing site, hire sales force, maybe engage with the 4PL, so you can then start and manage all the operational aspects of commercial operations, manufacturing, sales, etc. Don't try and do everything by yourselves. Why? Because in the end, the envelope, or let's say the code is always, the bed, or how do you call it, that bed cover or the code, depending on the language, is always short. It's always short. You don't have enough money. You have to focus. And so if you decide to take your money, let's say it's $50 million, and you throw it now in a phase 3, these are $50 million that you haven't invested in your early stage products, because for $50 million, you could actually progress like 10 products up to phase 2. And then, or let's say 5 products up to phase 2 if I'm not really saving too much money. But if you took all these 50 million and you're just advanced one, and then this one failed, you're gone, you're bankrupt.
Yeah.
So I would say you try to capture this upfront 50 and reinvest back, and don't get tempted to say, oh, it's such a good drug, let's launch it by ourselves so we can have it all for ourselves. It's a temptation. Many times investors will try to push for that, but don't fall prey to this mistake. It's a big mistake. A lot of companies I see, instead of diversifying the risk by investing in their pipeline, they are trying to do everything, and so they are basically drying out all their pipeline, just focusing on one product, trying to take it to the market. The second mistake I want to focus on is not raising money when you can. So many companies, they go into a milestone or into a catalyst, suddenly the share price rockets. And they say, oh wow, it's amazing. So and then let's say that you were 200 and now we are $800 million company, and you are about to receive readout from your clinical trial. What you should do? Immediately raise money. Why? As confident as you can be about your results, you might fail. So if you are now with the negative results, but you didn't raise money before, you go home. But if you are with a negative results and you raised the 100 million on a valuation of 600, yes, you diluted your shareholders, but you can restart the company. Listen, I took the company here after phase 3 results with $2.5 million in the bank. And the reason was nobody wanted to get diluted. So they didn't raise money. It's a big mistake. You have to raise the money when you can, not when you exactly want. You just need, yes, you might have enough. You think that you have enough, raise it. And so don't wait because, okay, worst case, you were successful and you have additional 100 million plus, of course, you will have the next round will be an up round, but don't do too many calculations, and always do business continuity calculations. Don't take too many risks because in the end they might all happen.
I love it. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And I've been guilty, even though I'm not in the biotech space, of trying to do that first part that you spoke about, where you try to do everything yourself as getting started, and then you just realize, no, it doesn't work. It's so much better when you outsource to people that are experts. And to
Right.
use medical term, doctors, who makes more, the generalist or the specialist? Of course, a specialist. So I love that point. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Next question for you, Amir, is what are some timeless lessons you've learned along the way about business, about life, anywhere you want to go that you'd like to share with the audience, please?
I think about business and life, my feeling is that one needs to focus on what he or she loves doing. Because when you are focused on things that get you, make you wake up excited in the morning, that won't make you tired, if you focus on is what's best for you. People sometimes, I think, get confused about, oh, I'm working too hard, I need to focus on my family, etc. I think if you feel blame or you blame yourself for working too hard, I don't know if you are in the right place for it. I basically, for me, it's like a hobby. So I love what I do. I just need to remind myself that I have other hobbies which might be actually more important than this hobby, which means, okay, my spouse, my kids, etc., my family. Because when you're so focused on something that you love doing, think about it when you were a kid, when you were playing video games. You could actually get yourself immersed in the video games and just forget about it. You don't get tired, you love it. And you know how much we need to fight with the kids. Like, tomorrow is school, you need to close your screens. They love it. So if you are able as an adult to get yourself into a job where you love it and you just are so curious, you like doing what you're doing, and it fills you with energy, so it doesn't deplete you from energy, then you know that you are in the right place. And if you're not there, be courageous and just think, okay, what's going to make me feel, what is going to make me feel like that? And I think what we maybe sometimes we get confused with is people look for promotions, right? So I want to get into the next stage, get more money, etc. Okay, but it might sound like a cliche. We are not buried with our money. You don't eat your money. It's just, you're trying to do everything because in the end, you think, okay, if I do that, then I'll be happier. Okay, can you be happier without that? Not because you don't need the money. My point is, if you focus on doing things that make you happier, magically, you'll make a lot of money. It's amazing. Even artists that are, even look at these brilliant chefs, that they have chains of restaurants, etc. Guys never learned in university, went maybe to a school of, learned how to cook, etc. But they love what they do, and so they're brilliant in that, and they really are successful. So you find the thing that you love doing, and just by reflecting that love and expressing it, you'll just do good business. I think that's, again, I might be wrong. That's my feeling. That's how I see things. Works for me.
I absolutely love it. It's almost like entering the state of flow, if you will. And once you're in that
Right.
state of flow, it energizes you. Yeah. And a good litmus test to your point is if it depletes you, that's not good. That's not the state of flow. If it
Right.
energizes you, then you're in that state of flow. Love
Exactly.
that. All right, next question for you is what are some timeless mistakes some timeless mistakes you've either made or you want to share with the audience, and how do you avoid them?
Yeah, I think you need to be brave and ask yourself, what's going to be worse, long run. Sometimes we avoid taking decisions because we hate the feeling that we will feel when we'll make the decision. Layoffing people that underperform, changing jobs, resigning, moving from one place to another, etc. So I think if you want to put it in perspective, sometimes you avoid from taking these kind of decisions and then you regret. I think one point I had an opportunity to go into a job that I really wanted in the United States. I was already in Belgium and I started to get, oh my God, now relocation. I'm not sure. All the family wanted. My kids wanted it. My wife wanted it. I loved the job. I got so excited about the job, but I was so reluctant on, small things. Like I didn't feel comfortable with expressing that to and telling that to my boss. I was thinking, how will he feel? What will my colleagues think of me? Will they think I'm unstable? That I'm just because I wasn't a lot in that job, but I didn't really like it. I wanted to move.
Right.
And when I got this opportunity, suddenly I got cold feet and freaked out and just stayed. And I hated myself for after that. And I said, okay, the next time I'll need to take a decision and I'll have the opportunity, I'll grab it. And here again, we came into relocation to Israel, and I got an offer from Teva Pharmaceuticals to a vice president job, very nice, well paid, etc. And then came this offer. Like they started talking to me. My wife was like, "Are you out of your mind? Like it's a company that can go bankrupt every day. We're relocating to a new country. We've never lived there with the kids. You have no job, and that's what you want to do? Like you have an offer. Go for it." I'm like, I'm telling you, I have my heart is there. I know. I feel that I can be successful. I might be wrong, but I want to give it a chance, and I don't want to miss this opportunity that I'll then regret. So here I am. We're still in the journey. I'm still having heart attacks every day with, the need to raise money and fight. Startup management is super volatile. It's like roller coaster, but I don't regret it for a second. And so I think doing such a mistake once, I promised myself I won't do it again, and I'm happy I didn't do it now.
I love it. I love it. So in hockey, Wayne Gretzky is a famous hockey player. He goes, "You miss 100% of the shots on goal that you don't take." So to your point, it's really fantastic. I love that. All right, leadership is next question. What makes a great leader, and what are some lessons you've learned about leadership that you'd like to share with the audience?
So I think on leadership, people sometimes try to hire people that won't be smarter than them. It's a biggest mistake you can do as a leader. You need to always hire people that are far, far smarter than you, because your job is not to be the best player in the orchestrate. You need to be the one that orchestrates.
The conductor, the
So sorry,
conductor, the
the conductor.
conductor. Yes.
So you want to be the conductor. He might not play the violin the best. The violin is the best, but he will be, he knows he understands the rhythm. He understands the big picture. He knows how to wave everybody together and create the big picture, which is the music, right? So you need to be there, listen to people, because it's like the conductor. You need to listen to the people. You need to listen to see if they are performing exactly as you wanted, and you want to see that they are syncing with each other. So don't spend too much time doing the job by yourself. Find the right people to do the job, and then try to orchestrate the work. So that's a very important thing. And then, just remember, that God brought us to world with 2 ears and one mouth. So listen twice, then you speak. So, just listen, and because by listening you learn, by talking you don't learn. You teach people, which is important. Um, but when you listen to others, you can understand what's going on. You can take decisions. If you are like, okay, I listen to this person and actually I don't like what I hear, and maybe this person needs to be, trained, um, mentored, coached, or let go. But if you don't listen to them because you're continuously talking and just giving orders, you don't even notice that people underperform because you don't listen to them. So listening is a super important thing in management, and just be frank with people. Just make sure that they know you're doing your best. You're not, be ready to admit mistakes. Be ready to get some fire sometimes, under fire from the board, from their employees, from management. It's natural. People might, not there is. We always try to be this perfect leader that everybody loves. Nobody has any comment on it. There is no such thing. Everybody has shortcomings. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody, some people are, but yes, you want to be the one that most of the people love, that the vast majority of people want to follow, etc. And you want to be better all the time, but don't strive for perfection, because there is no this perfect person that everybody loves, that is best in everything. Just this perfection is destroying leadership, because just I'm human like anybody else. I'm just good at understanding the big picture, trying to help people coordinate and work together. I'm sometimes not the best. I might not be the best manager, but I'm just doing my best.
I love it. So what you're saying here, the whole point of my show is I listen. I'm a talker by nature, but here in this thing is I be quiet and listen. And I love what you're saying here. This is really, really fantastic. All right. Next question for you, Amir, is adversity. How do you handle adversity, and what are some obstacles you had to overcome along the way that you'd like to share with the audience, please?
So look, for example, even Sinai. Look at frankly, look at our share price. It's very, very low. Market capitalization is super low. And for me as a CEO of a company, it's very frustrating. You look at that and you're like, okay, how come? Then I have more cash and assets than my market value. Now you need to appreciate you have history, but you can't blame everything on history. But there is history. The company failed in the past in phase 3. Okay, before my time, but it happened. You People got burned from the stock. They invested and they lost money, so they don't like the ticker. So people sometimes, okay, I got burned with that. They don't really know, okay, new CEO, new technology, they have no clue. So they're like, oh, I'm staying away from that. People used to look at that, and so, there was a massive debt liability, which was part of the loan. So now it's converted to equity, so balance sheet is clean. We had compliance issues with Nasdaq. So, we didn't comply with the minimum $1 share price. We didn't comply with the shareholder equity minimum of 2.5 million. So many obstacles, million obstacles. We had to climb one after another, stay focused, and, just win one of, clear one after the other. So remove the debt, got back into compliance, raised the money, got new technology, try to develop the technology, working on sub-licensing and stuff like that, injecting new business into the CDMO. I think with good IR, we can get this message to investors, so that they can look at that and say, you know what, maybe there is an arbitrage here. How come a company that holds a pipeline of 9 antibodies, when you look at comps, I have a nanobody for IL-17, which neutralizes IL-17A and F, which is given intradermally. Nobody does it. The only other company that has IL-17A and F is nanobodies is MoonLake is traded at a valuation of 3 billion.
Oh, wow.
And they have 1 drug candidate in the pipeline. We have 9. They do not have a manufacturing site. They do not have the CDMO business. I have 30 scientists working for me. So And so, I could get frustrated and say, "Hey, what's going on, the message," but it pushes me to say, okay, what do I need to do better in outreach, crystallizing the message and working. I think for me, this is the biggest obstacle and frustration I'm trying to work through. Maybe that's my kind of lesson now, to say, okay, how do I translate this message to the investors, and how do I understand from investors what is their concern? What do they see that I might not see? Because I know the science. I see the results in the lab. I see the results in animals. I see the regulatory response that we got from the European regulator, which gave us a concession. Basically, we can go directly to sick people in phase 1 to A. We have a lot of success there. So what am I doing suboptimal that not enough investors believe in this ticker symbol, say, you know what, I'll put the money here because it's a massive opportunity. Because of course, we need them. If the valuation is so low, ability to raise money is almost impossible,
Right.
and it's very hard to, so then it limits the progress. But if the share price goes to where it should be, because even if we are like at 20 times the current share price, 20 times, we will be at 60 million value. And a company with 9 products, one of them is going next year to the clinic, and a CDMO business with $14 million worth of equipment working in the labs, how come it can be 3 million? Now you have so many factors that factored in, all these vectors with the debt, with the history, with the compliance, but we will need to take it out and emerge and convey the message in a way that will, unveil or release this hidden, let's say, gem, or this hidden value that people should see. This is basically my biggest focus these days.
Got it. That's actually really smart. So when you deal with adversity, if I hear you properly, you're saying that there's external adversity, and then you focus on things you can control, and then not with the others. Don't get lost in things you can't control, and then just keep doubling down on the correct message until you get through it, and not give up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's key. All right, beautiful. Final question for you, Amir, is what's the best piece of advice you'd like to give the audience or your 30-year-old self?
So the best advice is SCNI.
I love it. That
I think
counts. That counts. Go along SCNI. That
go
works.
straight.
Yeah.
I think INI is the next thing to take a look at. Innovation in INI is something to take a look at. I think there is so much more to do in inflammation and immunology. There are so many chronic immunological diseases, autoimmune diseases that people suffer from. There are solutions, there are drugs, yet there is so much more to be done. We have a lot of things in our sleeve. Some of them are public, some of them are still in research. But I think if I invite people to go into our website at .com, and then look into this. We have wonderful videos and explanations and PRs and research material that people can take a look at and really understand the opportunity that is there, the unmet need with these autoimmune diseases, which we are so excited about.
I love it. So yeah, the website will be in the description, but it's scinai.com. The ticker symbol is SCNI. Amir, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been absolutely fantastic, and hopefully we'll have you on again soon.
Thank you very much, Adam, and happy for everybody that stays with us for this show. Thank you very much for your patience and listening.